The rise of macro tracking, monitoring grams of protein, carbohydrates, and fats for every meal, has transformed the way many people approach food. Apps like MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, and Carb Manager have made it easier than ever to log meals, scan barcodes, and receive detailed feedback on nutrient breakdowns within seconds. On the surface, macro tracking promises precision, control, and the potential to reach goals faster, whether that's fat loss, muscle gain, athletic performance, or simply maintaining energy throughout the day. Social media is full of stories, users posting colorful spreadsheets of their macros, offering tips on hitting your protein targets, or celebrating success after weeks of disciplined logging. The popularity of this approach suggests that many people find structure and clarity empowering. But is it really necessary for everyone, or can the focus on numbers sometimes interfere with healthier eating habits and intuitive body awareness? The answer is complex, yet ultimately optimistic. Macro tracking can be a powerful tool for the right people, while others may benefit more from a balanced, mindful approach that emphasizes food quality and body signals rather than grams and percentages. One of the most striking benefits of macro tracking is accountability. Many users report that logging meals helps them understand the nutritional composition of foods they previously underestimated. Someone trying to build muscle may discover that their protein intake is far below recommended levels, or a person attempting weight loss realizes that snacks they thought were small contain far more fat or sugar than they imagined. Dietitians often praise this awareness, noting that it can be especially useful for people with specific health or performance goals. Athletes, bodybuilders, and individuals recovering from metabolic conditions such as prediabetes or insulin resistance frequently see improvements when guided by macro tracking. By monitoring macronutrients, they can fine-tune their intake to support muscle repair, maintain energy levels during workouts, or stabilize blood sugar, outcomes that may be hard to achieve without precise data. Another positive aspect is that macro tracking can act as a learning tool. Users often discover patterns in their diets, such as consistently low fiber intake, insufficient protein at breakfast, or excess refined carbs in evening snacks. Over time, the process can educate people about which foods balance macronutrients naturally, which in turn may reduce the need for meticulous logging in the long term. Many dietitians describe macro tracking as a temporary bridge. It helps people gain awareness, establish healthy habits, and gradually internalize portion sizes and nutrient composition. For some, this structured approach builds confidence, fosters consistency, and supports sustainable changes. Despite these advantages, dietitians caution that macro counting is not universally beneficial. One concern is that hyperfocus on numbers can disrupt intuitive eating, the ability to listen to hunger, fullness, and satisfaction cues. People may feel compelled to eat a certain amount of protein or carbohydrate even if they aren't hungry, or avoid foods they enjoy because they don't fit the macros. This can lead to unnecessary stress around eating, guilt after unlogged meals, or preoccupation with minor numerical details that overshadow broader patterns of health. Pediatric dietitians and those working with clients with a history of disordered eating emphasize that rigid macro tracking can, in some cases, trigger or exacerbate unhealthy behaviors, including obsessive calorie counting, orthorexia, or binge-restrict cycles. Even among healthy adults, long-term adherence to precise logging can feel burdensome, potentially undermining the sustainability of positive habits. The social aspect of macro tracking also has mixed effects. Online communities can provide encouragement, recipe ideas, and accountability. Stories abound of users who successfully reached body composition goals or improved energy by following macro-based meal plans. But the social pressure of perfect tracking or comparing numbers can amplify stress and reduce enjoyment around food. Dietitians highlight that the benefits of macro tracking are maximized when the focus is internal, understanding your own needs and responses, rather than external validation from apps or online groups. For the average person without strict health or performance goals, dietitians often recommend a more flexible approach, emphasizing food quality, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, whole grains, healthy fats, and using simple portion awareness or plate models can achieve similar outcomes without the mental load of logging every meal. Encouraging mindful eating, preparing balanced meals, and tuning into hunger cues often improves satiety, energy, and nutritional adequacy as effectively as detailed macro tracking. That said, Some casual users still find benefit in periodic tracking, such as logging meals for a week to identify patterns or ensure variety, then letting the body guide intake afterward. The key is integrating the knowledge gained from macro tracking into daily habits without becoming enslaved to the numbers. A positive takeaway is that macro tracking, when applied thoughtfully, doesn't have to be a rigid or stressful practice. Many users report that they gradually transition from obsessive logging to a more intuitive approach once they have developed awareness of portion sizes, nutrient-dense foods, and personal energy needs. In this way, macro tracking can serve as a practical educational tool. It teaches people how to balance meals, recognize high-protein or high-fiber options, and appreciate the interplay of carbs, fat, and protein, while eventually freeing them from dependence on apps or spreadsheets. In conclusion, counting macros is a tool, not a mandate. For athletes, body composition goals, or individuals with metabolic conditions, tracking can provide invaluable insight, structure, and motivation. For others, it can be informative in the short term, helping identify nutrient gaps or patterns in eating behavior. But for most people, strict daily logging is unnecessary and may interfere with intuitive eating, enjoyment of meals, or mental well-being. The most positive way to view macro tracking is as a temporary, educational, and personalized strategy that builds awareness, fosters balance, and encourages long-term habits. When approached this way, it becomes less about the numbers themselves and more about understanding and honoring your body's needs, a sustainable, empowering path to nutritional health.